3 weeks ago, my sister stood in our parents' living room surrounded by ring lights and praise and screamed at me during her live stream. "You've ruined our family." She didn't whisper it. She didn't even look embarrassed. She said it like it was a fact. And the worst part, my parents didn't flinch. They nodded, like I was some virus that had infected her perfect life, like I had asked to be the shadow in someone else's spotlight. I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I didn't even cry. I walked out of that house without a word, just a bag, just silence. That was 21 days ago, and this morning, 14 missed calls, 3 voicemails, 1 message from my father, "Elara, your sister's in trouble. We need your help. Now they want me back." Not because they remembered I mattered, but because something's broken, and I'm the one who used to quietly fix what they shattered. So, what changed? Why now? Have you ever been erased by your own family until they realized you were the only one who could save them? If you have, stay with me. And if you're listening from somewhere that once called you a burden, tell me where you are, tell me your name, and tell me, did they wait too long? Because this time, I won't whisper just to be heard. Before it all fell apart, we lived in a polished neighborhood just outside Nashville. Manicured lawns matching mailbox fonts, and the illusion of warmth that cracked under real light. Inside our house, everything revolved around Callista, my older sister, the brand. The self-made woman who parlayed aesthetic brunches and curated vulnerability into a full-time influencer career. She didn't always used to be like that, but somewhere between high school homecoming queen and her first sponsored post, she learned the art of being loved loudly. And me, I learned how to disappear quietly. I was the helper, the babysitter, the emotional sponge. I got straight A's, took dual credit courses, built tutoring rubrics by hand, but my name, it was the one not mentioned in captions, the one cropped out of family portraits shared online. At Sunday dinners, she talked. I listened. She sobbed about deadlines. I did the dishes. When I lost my job after COVID and moved back home, it wasn't with open arms. It was more like a silent shrug. Mom said, "Just until you figure things out, okay?" And Dad grunted without looking up from his phone. Callista didn't mind at first. She liked having someone in the background again. Someone who could run to the store, fetch the missing charger, fix the tech issues during her live streams. But I was a placeholder, a ghost in the family photo. A convenience. Until the moment I existed too loudly. It happened on a Tuesday evening. I was leaning in the doorway with a chipped mug of tea watching her wrap up a live stream. She was celebrating 50,000 followers. The living room glowed with her ring light. Mom beamed like Callista had just cured something. Dad nodded along like a prop. And me, not a word, not a glance. Then her screen flickered. A glitch. Her voice sharpened like a knife. "Why does this always happen when you're around?" I blinked. "What, you stress me out just by breathing, Elara. You throw off my vibe." I waited for anyone to speak up, to call out the absurdity, to ask, "Are you serious?" instead. Mom smoothed the air with her tone. She's not wrong. Every time something good happens, you find a way to ruin it. Then she added it like a brick thrown into my chest. "You've ruined her life. Honestly, you've ruined ours too. And Dad." He just rubbed his temples like I was a migraine returning. I didn't shout, didn't shake, didn't beg. I turned, walked to the guest room. The one they always reminded me wasn't permanent, and began packing. Just clothes, just essentials. Nothing sentimental. No framed photos. No childhood journals. No evidence that I'd ever belonged there. The door stuck like always. The carpet smelled like air freshener that had given up. 15 minutes later, I walked out. No one followed. No one asked, "Where will you go?" No one said, "Come back." Just the sound of the door clicking shut. And the kind of silence that doesn't fall gently, it drops like a verdict. The walk to the gas station felt longer than it was. Maybe because every step felt like I was leaving behind a version of myself I was supposed to protect. I bought a granola bar and a bottle of water, not because I was hungry, just because that's what you do when you're pretending you have a plan. The bus came 12 minutes late. I waited anyway. The ride into Asheville blurred past in streaks of headlights and reflections. No one looked up. No one asked why a woman with a half-zipped backpack and eyes like sleep deprivation was heading downtown alone. I liked that. At the end of the line, I got off and walked until I found the first place that didn't look like it would ask questions. A beige motel, flickering signage, smelled like bleach and smoke and resignation. The man at the desk didn't flinch when I handed over $40 in cash. He gave me a key with a room number scrawled in Sharpie and went back to watching his show. Inside, the room was smaller than my old closet. The bed sagged, the curtains held dampness, but it was mine, and no one there had ever called me a problem. I didn't cry, not even when I sat on the edge of the mattress and stared at the ceiling. There was a water stain shaped like a cracked star, or a broken heart. I couldn't decide which. I lay there, fully clothed, arms folded over my chest like armor, staring at nothing. Then my phone buzzed. Not a text, not a missed call. Just a reminder. Unopened package, Mother's Day gift delivered 2 years ago. Still marked as not viewed. I knew exactly what it was. Silk handkerchiefs, custom monogrammed with her initials. I'd saved for weeks to afford them. Wrapped in soft tissue. Boxed. Shipped. Ignored. They never opened it. Just like they never opened me. The next morning I woke up before sunrise. Body stiff from the motel bed. Mind sharper than it had been in weeks. I counted everything I had left. $270 and some change. No job. No home. No one waiting on the other end of a text. But that reminder about the unopened gift. It didn't feel like rejection anymore. It felt like proof. Proof that I tried. Proof that they didn't. That small piece of clarity was enough to get up, brush my teeth with a motel toothbrush, and walk 4 blocks to the nearest cafe. It opened early. The chalkboard outside said, free Wi-Fi. Coffee refills all day. That was all I needed. Inside, the smell of burnt toast mixed with floor cleaner. I ordered the cheapest thing, $1.75 coffee, and chose the seat closest to an outlet. I pulled out my phone, logged into a tutoring profile I hadn't touched since college. It still had my photo, smiling, optimistic, unbroken. I updated it, SAT and ACT, prep. Writing, study skills, patient, reliable. Under about me I wrote, I believe in showing up even when no one else does. That line stuck with me. By noon, I had applied to 16 listings. Parents desperate, students overwhelmed. People who didn't know my family, didn't know my name, didn't think of me as the one who ruins things. Halfway through my 5th application, I saw it, reliable. Compassionate listener, those words were in my bio. And I remembered something. My grandmother used to say it during Sunday dinners when everyone else talked over each other. Elara listens like it matters. She sees things the rest of us don't. The last person who ever said that to me was gone. And I only ever got 1 letter from her, or so I thought. Because 3 days after her funeral, when I asked my mother about the 2nd letter, the one a family friend said Grandma wrote me, she just said, oh, it wasn't anything important. Just sweet old lady stuff. But I never saw it. Like everything else that was meant for me. It got buried. Not thrown away, not destroyed. Just tucked into a drawer, like I was. The cafe closed early that day, so I moved 2 blocks over to the public library. They had a Chromebook loan system, 2-hour sessions, perfect for tutoring. I booked a slot, opened Zoom, and met Riley, 16, quiet, panicked eyes. Said she'd failed her last SAT practice by 200 points. I helped her break down one reading passage. Halfway through, she looked up and whispered, "You're the only one who's explained this in a way that actually makes sense." I froze, because it had been years since anyone looked at me like that. Like I was useful, like I was good. By the end of the week, I had 3 students. 2 high schoolers, 1 adult prepping for a GED. I tracked everything on the back of my motel receipt. Not because I had to, but because it mattered now. That small cigarette-scented room, it wasn't much. But for once, it was mine. I sat on the edge of the bed that Friday night with a feeling I hadn't known in years. Not joy, not pride, just stillness. The kind of peace you earn, the kind no one can hand you, or take away. Then I opened my phone. Instagram. Callista had posted a family photo. Caption: family is who shows up when it matters. Don't ever forget that. Her, mom, dad. Even the dog they got after I moved out. But I wasn't in the picture. The old photo, the one from when I was 16 when we still pretended I belonged, gone. In its place, Callista centered. Mom glowing, dad smiling like he rehearsed. I stared. Not with sadness, not even with anger. Just this Tight, quiet ache, like watching someone throw away a letter before reading it and realizing it had your name on it. I scrolled down her feed, old posts, old lies, grateful for my tribe, throwback to the good old days. In every one, I was either cropped out, blurred, or nowhere. That night, I reached for my tote bag, started organizing tutoring messages, filtering out spam, and then I saw it. Subject line: Refamily Podcast Opportunity, Callista Quinn. Sender: PR agency. Recipient: Callista CC'd me. She hadn't meant for me to see it. The pitch was about resilient family dynamics, a feature on modern family brands. And at the bottom, she wrote this: she's just bitter and emotionally unstable. We don't talk for a reason. I don't want her involved. It's taken years to rebuild the family image. I read that line 3 times. Bitter, unstable, image. I didn't scream, didn't reply. I screenshotted it, then another and another. The next morning, I printed the email at the library, taped it to the motel wall, right next to the copy of Grandma's will I'd found on an old USB buried in cloud backup folders. She had left it all to me: the curriculum, the tutoring framework, every outline we'd worked on together before Callista ever cared about educational branding. Her signature was there, her handwriting, stamped. Dated 5 years ago, it had been mine the whole time. Callista just took it. She used my designs, my diagrams, my diagnostic rubrics, changed the font, slapped her face on it, and called it hers. That night, I stared at those papers. One handwritten by a woman who believed in me, one typed by a sister who erased me. And I knew this wasn't just personal anymore. This was theft, deliberate, documented. And I wasn't walking away again. I didn't rush. I didn't announce anything. Didn't post a call out or warn her to back down. Instead, I documented. Every single file I had: lesson plans, draft rubrics, screenshots of creation dates, went into a new folder labeled Proof. Then I scanned Grandma's will again, zoomed in on the clause: all intellectual property and curriculum co-developed with Elara Quinn shall remain under her name alone. It wasn't just a loving gesture. It was legal, and it was enforceable. I booked a consultation with an IP lawyer named Margot based in Asheville. She didn't blink once while reading the printouts. "You don't need a lawsuit to take this back," she said calmly. "You just need a paper trail and a notice." She drafted the forms, filed everything, made it public record, and just like that, it was official. The work Callista claimed as her own now had my name stamped across every page, legally. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clean. But peace is rarely permanent in families like mine. That evening, I got an alert. My tutoring site flagged. Multiple copyright claims, content temporarily disabled. My stomach turned. Another message, another red banner, all traced to one source: Callista's PR agency. Same email domain, same tactics, same silencing. She didn't even bother hiding it. They wanted to erase me one more time, this time from the platform I'd built with my own hands. But I was ready. I countered. With timestamps, original drafts, emails from students, screenshots from 4 years ago when I'd uploaded these lessons to cloud storage before she even launched her academy. I sent a message to the tutoring board, then another to my clients. No drama, no accusation, just clarity. Attached are original files, timestamps, notarized ownership documents, and the official clause from a will filed in 2019. The responses came within minutes. Most said, "Thank you." One parent wrote, "You're the reason my daughter didn't drop out. Don't let them win." I printed that and pinned it next to Grandma's letter. On my wall now were 3 sheets: a will, an email, a testimonial, 3 versions of the truth, 3 layers of who I was. And then came the knock. 3 soft raps, too familiar to ignore. I looked through the peephole. Verena, Marcus, Callista. I opened the door, but didn't step aside. They stood there in the narrow hallway of my shared apartment, like a painting coming undone. Verena's makeup was smudged. Marcus said nothing he never did. Callista looked pale, panicked, tired, in a way filters can't fix. "We made mistakes," Verena said, hands shaking. She said we, but I knew what she meant. They didn't come for forgiveness. They came for containment. "We know we hurt you," she continued. "But family means," I cut her off. "No," I said. Family meant opening the envelope I mailed. Family meant not calling me unstable in an email. Family meant saying my name once in all your grateful posts. Silence. I turned to Callista. She opened her mouth, but no apology came out. Just this hollow, rehearsed guilt. I'm not here to fix your mess, I said. And I closed the door. No slam, no scream, just a click, a lock. That night I found a new flag on my site. This time not from her agency, from her personal account. They were doubling down, trying to suffocate the platform I'd rebuilt from nothing. But this time I wasn't the girl in the background. I was the woman with the archive. And I had a different plan now. I reopened every document, re-tagged every file, sent a formal counterclaim with line-by-line evidence, even included the screenshots of her plagiarized layout right down to my sidebar titles. Then I did something I never thought I would. I recorded myself. No camera angles, no lighting, just me, a single lamp, and my voice. I didn't perform. I read the will, held it up, scrolled through the original docs, showed my drafts, displayed the PR email. And then I looked into the lens. They say silence is strength, I said softly, but sometimes truth needs a voice. Then I hit upload, closed the laptop, and waited. The video went live at 8:43 p.m. I didn't post it with a caption. I didn't ask for sympathy. I didn't tag anyone. I just let it breathe. Within 2 hours, my phone didn't stop buzzing. Not from hate, but from gratitude. Former students shared it. One wrote, "This woman helped my son pass his GED after 2 failed years." Another said, "She coached my daughter through the SAT when no one else believed she could handle it." A teacher I once worked with reposted a screenshot of my original slide deck captioned, "I know her work. I used it. She built it." And just like that, the thread shifted. On Reddit, where Callista's team had tried to flip the narrative accusing me of jealousy of betrayal, the moderators locked the comments, tagged the post as misinformation. Then the flood. Someone I don't know who leaked screenshots, chat logs, Canva drafts, archived site templates, all predating Callista's launch, and all mine. In one image, my initials were still in the bottom corner of a worksheet. In another, a rough draft of my diagnostic tool appeared in full. The watermark hadn't even been removed properly. The comment section turned vicious, but not toward me. "This isn't branding," one said. "This is identity theft, with better lighting." Still, I stayed quiet. No celebration, no retaliation. Until 10:08 p.m., Margot called. "Elara," she said carefully. "I need you calm. I already knew. I could feel it. They filed an injunction. Emergency, trying to block your site permanently. And there's a new Reddit thread, dragging your name." So this was the final move. Not an apology, not a call, an ambush. They weren't trying to silence me. They were trying to bury me. The next morning, I woke up to gray light and another notification: "Your website has been suspended pending court review of copyright violations." My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't hitch. I just stared at it, knowing what had to come next. I opened a new folder, named it Receipts, dragged in screenshots, course drafts, emails from the Academy launch, Canva exports, student testimonials, Grandma's will. Then I wrote the counterclaim. Clear, calm, cold. This content was created, filed, and taught by me. All supporting documentation is attached. Any future use without credit will be pursued legally. And then I hit send. But I didn't stop there. I sent the same evidence packet to all my current students, to every parent I worked with, to 3 educational platforms I had considered applying to. No drama, just clarity. By noon, the replies came in. Some shocked, most supportive. But one stopped me. A mother from Houston who I'd only tutored once last fall. Her message was short. "Your course saved my daughter's future. Don't let them take it. We see you." That line, "We see you," knocked something loose in my chest. I printed it, pinned it next to Grandma's will. 2 kinds of inheritance, one by blood, one by effort. That night, Callista posted a story. Just 1 sentence on a white background. People love to take credit when the work's already done, but the internet wasn't buying it. Within minutes, an ex-intern replied with her own story. She stole from me too. Attached were timestamps and emails from a shared Google Drive. The tide didn't just turn, it roared. My inbox flooded again. Women who'd been gaslit by siblings, daughters left out of wills, teachers whose work had been borrowed and rebranded. They weren't sharing for likes. They were naming something real and ugly and familiar. Then came another message. From my mother. Low voice, no background noise, no lipstick. "We're sorry," she said. "Not for everything, but for letting it happen. You didn't deserve that." She didn't ask me to call back. She didn't say she loved me. She just stopped talking. I didn't cry. Didn't save the voicemail. I just let it sit there, like an unopened envelope. Then hours later, another knock. No one I recognized. A delivery driver. Certified, he said. Signature required. I signed. Inside the package, a letter from Callista's lawyer, and a check. 6 figures. Enough to quiet a scream. The letter read full name and rights restoration in exchange for permanent silence. Delete the video. Withdraw all claims. Do not speak again. They wanted closure, on their terms. But what they didn't understand was that silence doesn't protect people like me. It just buries us deeper. So I read the offer, twice. Once as the girl who used to whisper just to be heard. Then again as the woman who built her voice from dust. And then I slid it into my shredder. Listen to the blades sing. No applause, no witnesses, just the quiet hum of freedom being reclaimed. I didn't post a new video. No confetti, no mic drop. Just one still image, my name, my credentials, and 12 words. You don't owe people silence just because they share your last name. The reaction was quiet at first, but then it grew, not in noise, but in depth. Former educators shared it. Daughters who'd been erased from family group texts shared it. Women who'd built things behind closed doors, while someone louder took credit, shared it. One message read, "I thought I was the only one. Thank you for saying what I couldn't." Another simply said, "Not all ghosts are dead. Some of us are just unframed." I didn't respond to all of them. I didn't need to. I just kept building. This time on my own terms. I moved out of the shared apartment 2 months later, not into a mansion. Just a small 2-bedroom near a park where the bus stops at 7:16 a.m., right on schedule. One room became my office, where I printed and laminated my curriculum under my real name. I hung 3 papers above the desk. Grandma's note in her shaky cursive, "You will build what no one sees today." The testimonial from Houston, "We see you." The final copy of my legal certification, ownership affirmed. Intellectual property registered. And just beneath them, taped where only I could see it, I added one more. A letter I mailed. To a girl I once tutored. A girl whose parents told her she was too much, too loud, too emotional. No return address, no signature, just Grandma's words. "You will build what no one sees today, because maybe one night she'll sit in a motel room of her own, feeling erased, unheard, unwanted. And maybe, just maybe, that letter will do for her what it once did for me. Because this isn't just about revenge or proving them wrong. It's about choosing to live even after they tried to write you out of the story and realizing you were the author all along." What did you think of this story? Have you ever been blamed for things you didn't do just because it was easier for others? Let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And if you believe Elara deserves better, vote number 1. If you think silence was the real strength here, vote number 9. Don't forget to subscribe to EN Reddit Story for more real karma stories. New videos every day.